of the seed that should be sown, because it's not just about agric now, it's not just about planting now. We also need to use technology in agriculture, because agric has really gone far. Yes. I think this last weekend, I got the information that in Israel, there are about 10,000 farmers serving the entire nation. And then people will tell you that even in the United States of America, that the number of farmers feeding the entire nation can be counted. So it's not just about going to farm, it's about doing it the right way.
Using technology.
Yes, mechanized, and the quality of the seed, because I also learned that if some seeds have been so much upgraded that once you use them, you are sure of better yield than others. So those are some of the things that I think should be put into consideration.
And very germane to farming business is also security.
Yeah.
We know that the Southwest has the Amotekun Corps, which has been quite helpful in tackling this challenge of insecurity. But Olayinka, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I think it's about time, and I really want to commend the governors. However, as she has said, we have IITA, which is domiciled in the Southwest. The governors will need to talk to the authority of the IITA to give them some yield and some fruits, some seeds, and so on that will quickly germinate. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I traveled from Lagos to Osun, and I saw a vast array of land, arable land, just overgrown by weed and things like that. So we have the resources, we have the land. In fact, in Nigeria, there is no region that doesn't have something that can grow there. Perhaps the only region that is a bit unfortunate perhaps might be the Niger Delta area because of the oil this thing. Before now, they used to have, but the oil exploration has despoiled most of their land. But be that as it may, we can also remediate all this and make sure that our country begins to get better. The Southwest, we have so many, you can grow yam, you can grow cocoa. As she has said, it was based on the cocoa alone that the Southwest region was built. So why is it that we all looked away? We are all now looking towards the oil resources, and we now allowed all our things to be to go the other way.
And this same oil is no longer sustainable.
It's no longer sustainable. In fact, in the Southwest, you can grow rice, you can grow yam. There's nothing you cannot grow in the Southwest, in the North, in the East. So why is it that we are just not ready? But I hope the Southwest governors, it is not just a photo op issue, that they are really serious, that they are going to go into it. Because if they go into it, it is not a case of saying that we are depending on another region. No, it is not that. If you grow your own food, you can also export. You know what? If you travel abroad, if you know the number of Nigerians who like ofada rice, they can't find ofada rice anywhere except from Nigeria. So if Nigeria can grow, the Southwest can grow that species of rice and make sure we make it to meet international standard, we will get a lot of foreign exchange. So we should not just sit down here and be crying every day, this and that. I hope the governors will walk the talk. Because it is not enough to come out and say, we will go to farm. What are the plans? How many tractors have they bought? Or how many have they ordered? What is the security thing? Situation. What is the security thing that they are putting, plan that they are putting down now? So that people don't go to the farm and be kidnapped.
All right. And importantly, too, the fact that when these crops yield, when the harvest is in, it will first serve the locals. It will serve the people in before we consider exportation. Yes. All right. Let's move on now. For many communities in Katsina State, northwest Nigeria, it is still a long way from peace. Fear has gripped residents of Kankara local government area of the state following the killing of 4 policemen and 28 farmers in Yadagoje, Gidamboka, and Danakwabo villages by suspected terrorists. The simultaneous attacks on Sunday also claimed the lives of 2 members of the State Community Watch Corps. According to a government official in the area, the terrorists, armed with sophisticated weapons, also ambushed a police armored personnel carrier, which was responding to a distress call. Imagine there is an attack. The police is on its way to bringing succor to the people, and then they are ambushed. Olayinka, this is sad.
Very, very sad. And unfortunately, we keep talking about this thing every day, every time, and nothing is done. Now, when President Buhari was there, we talk about Tucano jets as if it is the thing that will cure all the banditry. What has happened to them? Is it that the Tucano is too big to be used, or why are we keeping it? Because, I mean, it emboldens the bandits. If you kill 2 policemen today, nothing happened to them, I mean to the bandits. Tomorrow they will kill 4, nothing will happen, and that is how it will continue to grow. We all know everywhere in the world, criminals are always afraid to kill uniformed men, but not in Nigeria. Because they know that when they kill them, nothing will happen. Why is it always like this? I always think about it. Assuming I have a brother, a son, or a relation who is in the army or in the police or whatever, and you just sit down one day that you hear that he's killed, and nothing happened, will you encourage another person, another of your relation or another person that you know to go and join? No. Look, there must be a rule of engagement. If you kill one uniform officer, we are going to take the entire... Look, it doesn't... It is not anything... It shouldn't be anything... it shouldn't be rocket science, as they say. That, look, you must do it in such a way that these people... You will throw so much fear into them that when they even confront your men, rather than kill them, they will run away. Because they know that if they kill them, they will kill more than. But in our own situation, we allow them to kill our uniformed men and nothing happened. We all just issue statements and tell their family we are sorry, we are to condemn it. The next 2 or 3 days, they give the family quick notice to leave the barrack. Is that the way you keep your servicemen? No! It shouldn't be that way. Every day we talk about this, I feel grieved that we come here every time as if we are wasting our time talking about the same thing every day. God forbid, we always say. But I can assure you that in another few weeks, we will still talk about this because they will still kill all that and nothing will happen.
But we desire not for that not to happen, really. You were talking
if you don't take action, it will happen.
We were talking about the rules of engagement,
yes,
and the need for these, officials to take action. If you look at the situation in Okwama community in Delta
yes,
State, where some military personnel were actually killed, remember that community was raised. At the moment, you can't even tell that there's some serious business going on there.
You raise a community, but you can't raise bandits. Is that the way to go? That is not the way to go. You might tell me that you don't know where the bandits are, or maybe you didn't, they are not in a particular place, but the one that you know where they are, why can't you take the war to them? They know these people, they know them, they know where they are.
Let's hear from Olabisi.
Oh my God, it's sad, and like he said, they know where they are. I listened to Zamfara State Governor in an interview in one of the television stations. And he said that the bandits, they know them, they know where they live, they know their addresses. I mean, he was saying it, but that there is just no political will.
On whose part now?
On the people that are supposed to provide security. Whoever is responsible for providing security in the country should be the one that we should be asking that question. Because, I mean, he was saying that they should teach the bandits lesson, that they should know that once they kill a uniformed person, this and that. I mean, you can only do that in a country where you have the upper hand. We are talking of a seemingly captured states in quotes right now. This is not the first time that uniformed people are being killed. They are being killed every day. And like you rightly put it, that there is a call for emergency, you rely on the security, you call them, they are coming, and they are ambushed and killed. So you can imagine the situation of the people calling for help. If the ones that are supposed to be of help have been overwhelmed and killed, so you can imagine that kind of situation. So if they are not overwhelmed, they will not be killed the way they are being killed. So it's obvious that whatever we have been doing in the past to fight these bandits, whatever they call them, whether they are bandits, whether they are terrorists or whoever they are, it's like the government is trying, but somehow these people are still not yielding. It means we need to still do some things that we need to apply more force to deal with them, because whatever we are doing, yes, we have recorded a reduction in the way they've been attacking and all of that. We cannot deny that, and that is a good development, and we need to also commend the security agencies for what they have achieved. But I think also that there are particular areas that are more prone to these attacks. And I just feel that we may need to apply more than just ground force to deal with them. Maybe we need to apply more of tech also in fighting them. Because in the case of these police people that were ambushed, if you read the story, you realize that they were going one way before because they thought the problem was in that way. But later they discovered that that was not the problem. They now changed their routes, and unfortunately they were ambushed. If we had technology, good technology, they could have been able to locate the exact point of problem without even, before leaving where they are. Communication tech and all kinds of things can be used to get that done. I mean, a drone was used to kill somebody. I mean, and it didn't fail. It went straight, killed that particular person and achieved its aim. And, so there are so many things that we can do with tech.
So aside technology now, what if there is a mole within the system, informing the enemy, okay, this is the plan, this is the routes, this is the strategy?
Yes. I will even say that should be taken for granted. That should be given. That a mole should be there is a given. Just like you also know that military plant also moles, also in communities, in society, so that to discover whatever mole that could be in the system. So what do we talk about? Community policing. That is part of the thing that is supposed to be discovered.
Some of those killed were even members of the community.
The vigilante, yes. Exactly. So maybe we need to the police also need to expand their method of policing the communities in terms of getting information from the people. I think it's not an easy problem, really. It's not an easy problem, but we cannot succumb to bandits and we cannot succumb to terrorists. The state must show itself to be above them, and whatever it takes to get that done should just be done.
Lanka, what's your take on what is it now? I mean, the place of receiving, the arms of these people, having them surrender their arms and ammunition, and then just giving them a pat on the back. Does that work?
No, it has never worked in anywhere. The thing is that before people become bandits, terrorists, or whatever, they have been brainwashed. So for you to change them from that, you need to de-radicalize them. And it is not a thing that will be done in 1 week or 2 weeks or even in a year. The best thing to do is we must also not think that it is only military men that can do it. Why do we have psychologists? Why do we have philosophers? Why do we have all those things? You see, this thing, there are psychologists who will look at, who will talk to people from mere discussion. They know how to approach the issue. So our security forces must also look outside the uniformed services. They must look at hospitals, talk to psychologists in the hospital, talk to all those. I mean, it is only here that we think that some courses are useless or some professional disciplines are useless. If you employ and you talk to people in those areas, they will be able to sit down with people you have captured and be able to debrief them and then be able to tell you that this is the kind of therapy that we need to apply to this. Why is it that some of the Boko Haram, some of the girls that were kidnapped by Boko Haram some years back don't want to come back home? And when they come back home, you just say, okay, they will stay in the hospital for some days, you give them, and then you release them back to their family. It won't work. It doesn't work that way. You have to take them through some processes.
It should be holistic.
Exactly, it should be holistic. And then, the issue of weapons. We need to spend more on weapons. And I don't want to believe, or I don't want to fall into that category of people who think that any problem, you throw in more money. When I say we need to use more, it does not mean that we vote more than we are voting now. The one that you have voted, you need to follow it up. Okay, you said you are going to buy so things. Can we see it? How has it been deployed? You don't buy weapons and keep them in the weaponry. You buy weapons because you need to use them.
That's
the one that you don't need to use, you don't need to buy.
All right, accountability at work there. All right, and moving on to another issue now. The back and forth movement over negotiation for a new national minimum wage persists, but the recommendations are now with the federal government. The 62,000 naira proposal appears to be the most plausible offer. The Ministry of National Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, and the chairman of the 87-member tripartite committee on national minimum wage, Bukar Aji, maintained that the 62,000 naira recommended by the committee was made in national interest and based on current economic realities. This was, however, rejected by organized labor, which insists on 250,000 naira as an acceptable national minimum wage. Well, the committee has now presented its report to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and they are awaiting organized labor leadership, and other stakeholders involved when they arrive from Geneva, Switzerland, from the ILO conference, and they can together make the formal presentation to Mr. President. And Labour has spoken from there that they would not react until the President and the National Assembly have, commented on that document. What do you see happening?
They also made it clear that they were not going to accept 62,000 naira, which they described as, they called it one name that I can't remember now, that is not, they are not going to accept 62,000 naira. So whether they are waiting for the presentation to the president or not.
Well, let's see, what one I used to remember was slave wage, right?
Yes, something like that. Yeah, there is no, yeah, exactly. Okay. So whether they accept Mr. President increases the recommendation, I think Labour has said that it's not going to accept 62,000 naira. So I guess what they are expecting is they are not they don't want to proceed on any strike yet because they don't consider that recommendation as final, since Mr. President has not formally accepted or announced it, which is reasonable enough. So as per the economic realities, there are different realities for different people. For the government officials, there is a form of reality, and for the labor group, there is another reality. So it's understandable if government says it can't do more than 62,000 naira based on its own economic realities. So it is left for labor also to look at his own economic reality or the economic reality of his members and make a case or, decide on what to take. For me, I think the 250,000 naira that labor is insisting upon, for whatever reality it is not realistic in Nigeria as of now, and there is no way that can be supported by whatever is available now. Remember that we have just 722,000 people in the employment of the Federal Civil Service of Nigeria, and I don't know the number of civil servants in the states, but if we want to look at everything together, I don't think we have up to 5 million public officers in Nigeria, and this is a population of over 200 million. We are probably about 30 to 35 million in the working class category. So whatever you do for 5 million people, for the organized private sector, for example, there is a limit to what they can take, because these are people that pay based on what comes into them. And the economic realities for them is different from what it is for the labor. Labor collects its money from government. And we have a saying that that is for government workers. It's not in the private sector. In the private sector, the economic outlook is affecting everybody. And they are going to pay based on what they can afford. And also, I'm sure that so many people will rather they have a job and still get paid, whatever it is, than get sacked because their employers cannot pay the minimum wage. So there are so many factors that we have to consider. And I'm sure that the labor unions themselves are aware of these realities. So, but of course, it is within their powers also to negotiate with government and the rest, but I know they are aware of the realities. They know that they are just a minute percentage of the workforce in the country, and they cannot insist on what others cannot pay. Look at me now, I'm an entrepreneur. You want me to pay a minimum wage of 70,000 naira. What is even my own minimum wage?
Everyone who works for
exactly. So how do I get that done? So realities, different realities for different people.
All right, let's hear from Olayinka.
Yes, I like that. Different realities for different people. The solution to this rests squarely with the federal and state government. How do I mean? Now, the labor demand is unreasonable. Well, I agree. But the federal government offer too is unrealistic.
The 62,000 naira.
It's unrealistic.
So what do you
and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Now, the cost of fuel have gone up. I'm not a mathematician. I'll always say that. By how many percent? From about 200 to about 600, 700 now. In those days, I used to bury my face in fiction, where my madam goes to the market and buy things. But today, I can't do that. Because I hear complaint every day. Ata is this, pepper is that. And I saw 1 or 2 times I followed her to the market and I saw it. Now, prices of things are ballooned. All because everything had gone haywire. They keep telling us it's not in Nigeria alone. But I live in Nigeria. Tell me about Nigeria. I know today there was a report that fuel is costing 1,500 in Ghana. And I don't have any business with that. Let Ghanaians face their problem. I'm here in Nigeria. Let us talk about Nigeria. If the federal government can solve the problem of food inflation, everything will go fine. Now, the federal government, all those who are blaming labor, that labor is unreasonable, they are doing, is this. Labor have its own constituency. If Osifo and Ajaero had caved in, they will be driven out of the labor house that they've, as the Yoruba will say, that they've fallen into the hand of the federal government. The federal government itself is the custodian of the national cake. And it's looking at the cake, it can't give labor what it asks for. So it's left for the two of them to sit down and agree that this is what we can give you. Right. However, when you look at the way things are going, the government, both at the state and the federal level and even the local government, have not shown us that they are really, they really understand what is going on.
All right, we'll take it from there, but let's take a break, and then when we come back, we'll continue from there. Journalist Hangout continues in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen. Following all nationwide big and impactful stories. Without the news from every perspective. Covering every human angle. I am Veronica, bringing you the news you would want to watch.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas. It shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Thank you for staying with us on the program. We're talking about the negotiations for a new national minimum wage for workers in Nigeria. Before the break, Olayinka, you were saying that the federal government, states and local governments have not shown that they really know or understand what is going on.
Not at all.
Why do you say that?
The reason is that if up till today, even if you look at their convoy, they might tell us that they've scaled it down, but they have not scaled it down to a realistic point. That, look, in this same Nigeria, there is a former state governor who is now a minister, who took away 50 vehicles from the state. If a state can have 50 vehicles that a former governor can cut away just like that, what were they doing with 50 vehicles? They are not buses. They are luxury cars. What if those 50 vehicles are not there? Those 50 vehicles, they will guzzle fuel, the money was spent on buying it. And these labor leaders are seeing all this. And then you tell them there's no money. It is when the legislators were going to buy 160 million SUV, the economy was not going to collapse. Workers are asking for salary increase now. Everybody is talking about economy will collapse. When it didn't collapse, when they were servicing themselves, look, these labor leaders, their demand may be outrageous, but also when you sit down and you look at their demand, you ask yourself, if all these people who are telling us that things are bad, are they showing it in their own way of life? Are they showing it in the way they spend money? In the way they travel all around and close all the roads? So there must be, if you are telling me, it's like now I have children and I tell them, there's no money. But they see me when I want to eat, I eat large and I give them a little more and I say there's no money. Or maybe, they will ask you, Daddy, why are you doing like this? So we must ask the government, since May 29 last year, allocations have increased to all the states and the federal government. What have they done with it? They must tell us, this is what we are doing. The roads are still bad. There's no power, there's no this, there's no that. The allocations have increased, yet we are still in the same system.
That of June actually, that of May rather, dropped some bit. But let's talk about what economists are saying, that when, it does appear there's a natural reality. You were talking about realities earlier, that when Nigerian traders, entrepreneurs, businessmen and women, once they hear a change in policy, immediately prices change, regardless of the fact that what they have is old stock.
The moment they announce the salary increment now, things will go up. It has already gone up and before they announced it.
There are also fears about inflation. You spoke about price inflation earlier. There are also fears that you may eventually be collecting maybe 120,000, if that happens. But then, in the actual sense of it, it might not be worth that much. It might just be worth the 30,000 naira or so that you were earning years ago.
Yeah, I agree with you that this is likely to push up inflation again. But you see, I think asking for salary reviews, increments, even if it is 250,000 naira, personally, I don't think it's going to solve any problem. Not because it's going to push up inflation, but because I've told you earlier on that the people we are talking about here are not even up to 5 million, conservatively. So what is 5 million among a population of nearly 200 million? You understand? Okay, you can tell me that it will have effects, it will trickle down to everybody, the market will expand and all of that. To what extent? Is that the kind of economy we are talking about? Is that the kind of economy that we envision for ourselves? Is that the kind of economic growth that is going to put Nigeria in the right place among the Committee of Nations? I doubt it. So you were saying something about allocations that have increased over time. I think we are dealing with insincerity on the part of government, most especially this time around. Because I want to believe that if all the states, for example, based on increase in allocation due to removal of fuel subsidy and all other things, have put in place some kind of welfare packages for their workers, everything does not have to be increased in salary. They could have drawn some allowances and say, okay, transportation, they can call it any name and just put it on the workers, under the workers' salary. That allowance could have been up to 20,000 naira for the minimum earner of 30,000. That means that has already pushed the salary to 50,000 naira. And if states across the country did that, I don't think Labour will be out now agitating for increments. And I also don't think that kind of development will push up inflation, because the market women are not likely to be aware of such developments. But you did not do anything. we were buying fuel for 195 naira. It went up to 600 and something naira. Nothing happened. Yet you are still living large. You still have your entourage. You still hold your dinner. You send your children to high-paying schools. You pay in dollars. You do all sorts of things, and you don't want these ones to even have the opportunity to send their own children to a common public school. You know, the division is just too wide. But if you ask me the solution to this, I will tell you that it is not in review of salaries. I will tell you that what the labor should be fighting for, if I were in their shoes, is good governance and accountability. Right. Accountability on the part of every state, on the part of the federal government, from the local government level. That is what they should be fighting for. They should not allow some people to eat the national cake, to be eating it lavishly while they are suffering. Because even if they increase the salary now, like you said, it will soon turn to the 120, even 250,000 will soon turn to 30,000.
But then accountability will then also mean that it's not just that you're not watching them eating it, but you're watching them, not just, I mean, it shouldn't be from the angle that they are eating it and not sharing with you.
No,
the fact that they are not eating
they should not be eating it at all. And even on the part of the civil servants too, they should also be accountable. They should work. I always say it, how many civil servants are really working in the true sense of it? Many of them see that position as part of their own national cake. What is the level of their productivity? This accountability goes to everyone, the governed and the civil servants and the government itself.
All right.
So, you know, every time they talk about putting infrastructure into place and all that and so on and so forth, what are these infrastructure that we cannot see? Look, nobody is saying that you should give them the money.
Yes.
If our roads are good and drivers have to visit mechanic less, transport will come down. But in a situation, look at, from Lagos to Ibadan now, it takes you maximum of 1 hour 30 minutes.
Because the road has...
Because the road is good. So if we have such things, the inner roads in the city must be made to be good.
So and
then vehicles will have a longer lifespan. It's not a case of you have your vehicle this week, you go to the mechanic, next week you go to the panel beater, another, I mean.
So that provision of infrastructure
exactly.
as part of governance.
They need to work on that seriously.
All right.
That is what will solve the problem. Okay.
And our final issue for the day. It appears the more you look, the less you see. And that's regarding the political imbroglio in Rivers State, South Nigeria. A Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has ruled that the factional speaker of the State House of Assembly, Martin Amewule, and 26 other lawmakers are still members of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. Delivering judgments in a case seeking to declare the seats of the 27 lawmakers vacant, Justice Okogbule-Gbasam held that the plaintiffs failed to prove that the defendant had defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Let's share the story with you.
Claimants Hyacinth Amadi and 3 others approached the court to challenge the eligibility of Martin Amewule and 26 other lawmakers as members of the House of Assembly. It is just one of the cases that have come before the judiciary relating to the lawmakers' controversial defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. The court in its judgment held that the lawmakers are still members of the PDP after the claimants failed to provide proof as required by law of the defendants' membership of the APC. The presiding judge, Justice Okogbule-Gbasam, faulted the absence of the APC membership register showing the names of the lawmakers and their membership cards, amongst others. He added that public statements and media publications do not serve as proof of defection.
For declaratory reliefs, it's not about what I admit or what other person has admitted to. It is about you proving your case. You don't rely on the witness of the defendant's case. You must, by the operation of law, prove the case on its merit. You must show that, in fact, that the persons you are alleging to have defected has in fact defected. It's not about what goes on the internet, what you watch on TV, what you read up on the pages of newspaper. That is not where defection takes place. If you need to say that somebody has defected and has also become a member of another political party, you must show hard evidence of membership register of one such person belonging to another political party.
The judgment of the State High Court comes as a relief to Martin Amaehule, whose position as Speaker of the House was threatened by the emergence of a faction.
The court clearly stated that Right Honorable Martin Chike Amaehule remains the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, as well as other members are quiet and remain members of the State House of Assembly, and their laws, the laws that are passed are legitimate, and the state government is bound to obey the laws passed by these honorable members. That's exactly what the court said this morning.
The court in its judgment also held that there was no proof that the lawmakers are no longer members of the PDP through resignation, death, expulsion, or procurement of another party's membership.
Let me start with you, Olayinka, because, I saw your expression while that report was airing.
Well, honestly, when people say the law is an ass, this has proven to me that truly it is. Because what the judge said, that they are still members of PDP. But these people came on air, the tape is everywhere, to declare that they have defected from PDP to APC. So how is it that they are still members of PDP? Or is it that they are still members of the House? Because if they had come out, as they had, to say that they have defected, that they are now members of APC, why will the judge now rule that because they didn't bring the membership card of APC to see their name, or that of PDP that struck out their name or whatever? That aspect of it, I don't understand. As far as I know, and as far as I think everyone knows, these people, if we search the video library, we will still see it, where they clearly stated that they have defected from PDP. Maybe those who took them to court didn't provide that as evidence for the judge to see. I don't know.
When there was something the defendants mentioned there that the judge ruled that you cannot rely on social media posts and all that, or just videos, because the burden of proof now is on the plaintiff to really provide evidence that those who you are accusing actually did what you are alleging they have done.
Since they said they've defected, have when they said they defected to APC,
to the APC,
if they had not gone to the party to do their registration, where are they going to get the membership card to show that they've really defected? But you can tell them that, okay, they still belong to PDP, but all their acts might be APC. So, in all honesty, I don't know what to say about this.
The law. I know that our lawyers would have a lot to say regarding this matter, because it's just been throwing up different angles.
Yeah, for me, I do not see a winner in that suit. Contrary to what the counsel to the first defendant is saying here, I don't see what he's saying in the judgment that was passed. Now, PDP went to court to ask the court to pronounce that their seats should be vacant because they are no longer PDP members, based on the fact that they defected to APC. And the judge said, you don't defect based on announcement on social media or whatever. And I think I agree with the judge that if you defect, there should be practical signs that you have defected. And for me, that does not pay anybody. Either the lawmakers that said they defected to APC, or the PDP that said they should strike their names out. Because what the judge is saying is that you, as PDP members, you claim to have defected, but you have not defected. you are still members of PDP. Meanwhile, they would have loved to be called members of APC so that they could provide a good opposition to the governor in that state's House of Assembly. But that is not possible for them right now because they are deemed fit as members of PDP. Now, the first counsel talking about it remains the judge didn't say anything about that, about anybody remaining the Speaker of the House or whatever. Because when you want to remove a speaker, you act based on the number of people that form a quorum when you sit. And that quorum was formed when the new speaker was elected. So what the first counsel is saying is like a confusion of the whole thing. So I'm saying that none of them, in my own view, has won. And what it means is that whoever wants to defer to APC will need to take a formal legal position of defection, which means that these lawmakers, for example, may have to go to APC in the state, register their membership with the APC, and formally defect from PDP to APC. That is what I can get from the judgments. That whatever, you cannot say you have something that you have not officially done. And in any case, that also that the PDP should also prove beyond reasonable doubt by also showing the court that these people have resigned and they are no longer members of PDP. So for me, it's neither here nor there. They will still need to go back and profile a political solution.
I was going to talk about that. What is the solution? Because what is important is for the residents of Rivers State to actually enjoy the dividends of democracy, of good governance.
Well, as she has said, and I agree with her, in this, there is no winner. So all they need to do now is let them go back, sit down, ask themselves, all these things that we are doing, are we doing it in the interest of those who elected us or in our own personal interest? Because at the end of the day, it is what you can do for your people that matters. But in this way, they are the loser are the poor residents of Rivers State. Because in all this now, the governor, if you ask him, he will tell you that he has not been able to do what he needed to do. The House of Assembly members themselves have not been able to do what they need to do. So all they need to do now is let them all sit down and ask themselves, gentlemen, are we really contributing anything to the development of this our state? Because at the end of the day, it is their state. It is what they have done that with the legacy they leave that will outlast them. All the governors who have ruled the state now, people can point to that these are what these people have done. But in the last 1 year, Rivers State has been, we just thank God that at least it has not developed into violence.
But then the governor mentioned that, he's been able to really get on track to really perform what he was elected to do.
As him saying it, the people agreeing with him that he has done it.
I think the people do not agree.
Being in his shoes, I would say the same thing. I would say the same thing if I were to be in his shoes. Amai Wele will say the same. We also say his own that he as a legislator and the speaker has done the best for the state. But the question is, in all honesty, if we all put it on a scale, are they sure they have done what is better for the Rivers State people?
That's like $1 million question, and we do hope that they are able to proper answers to that question in the days ahead. Gentlemen and ladies, it's been a pleasure having you both with me in the studio. Olabisi Deji-Folusile, thank you very much for your time today. And Olayin Kauyegbile, thank you very much for being here. Well, that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Do join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Abosede Adeniradremi. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
He is super funny. He is naturally witty. He is Funny Bo. Lagos, brace up for the comedy show of the year. Funny Bo Live, Aina Son. Featuring Gordons, Dan the Humorous, Larry J, Real Worry Pickin, Easy Mouth, Monica, Obi Godwin, Phronesis, and many more. Music by A-list Nigerian artists. Date is Sunday, June 16th, 2024. Time 6 p.m. Venue, Eco Hotels and Suites, Lagos. Tickets regular 7K, VIP 30K, Gold table 2 million naira, Premium table 3 million naira. Get your tickets online at RiaTickets.com and AfriTickets.event. For table reservations, please call 0812-728-6773. Funny Bone Live is supported by Optiva Capital Partners, Danomil, Goldberg Black, Legend Twist, Maltina, Feyruz, Samsung, Media Partner, TVC.
That's it. The regular football season is over.
What?
Yes, it's over.
No! Oh, no, no.
But not for us here at Supersport. We've got your favorite players. Only they won't be playing for your favorite clubs. That's because they'll be playing for their countries in Euro 2024, exclusively on Supersport.
Yeah! Whoopsie. Sorry. That's actually a pretty big deal.
Catch all 51 games of Euro 2024 only on Supersport. Stay connected to DSTV to watch all the action on Supersport.
The following is a paid presentation by Shopex TV.
Tired of pans that scratch and stick? Or cookware that takes up valuable space in your kitchen and are of little to no use?
from ShopX TV.
Stay ahead with the biggest news stories. Go beyond the news headlines. Experience impactful investigations. Enjoy resourceful news coverage in real time. TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. Live every day on this channel.
TVC News. First with breaking news.
It's Democracy Day.
I made the wildest possible consultation.
Let's explore Nigeria's democratic journey. On TVC News Breakfast Show, we expand the conversation with in-depth reports and analysis by stakeholders.